Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. Around here, we'll be talking about all things expansion, going from good to great and from great to greatness. I'm your host, Barbie. Get ready for your next level. Let's do this. Today, we are doing something unexpected and special. I am here with Matt Berthot, who is actually my voice coach. And I said, you know what, Matt? I'm just not feeling it today. I don't feel super high energy. I need to get myself in the right state to record my upcoming podcast. So we started talking, and I'll let Matt say whatever he wants to say, but I was screw it. Let's do a freaking podcast. So Matt,
Yes.
Welcome to my show. I did not expect to have a guest on, but it just seems right today. So welcome.
Yeah. And it's time. Thank you so much, Barbie. This is a privilege to be a guest on your show. And we're doing a coaching session right now, which is awesome. But yeah, what I was talking to Barbie about was she's amazing. She glows. We love watching her. She's a superhero to us. And when she told me that, I was like, well, what's going on? And what did you tell me?
I just said, well, there are a lot of things that were going on. I was dizzy and just feeling very sinusy for about 2 weeks, which affected everything. I was behind on everything. And so now the dizziness dissipated, but I'm just exhausted and I'm just not feeling very social. Also, I have my high school reunion coming up in 3 days. I'm flying to New York. I have this podcast episode that I'm so excited about. I'm excited about the podcast, but I'm just not feeling it. This week, I just want to be under the covers, away from the world, right? And, you know, we don't always have that option. So I just love that you said people see you as a superhero and they want to see your struggle. Can you talk about that? What you meant and that?
So high performers, people that we consider successful, wealthy, popular, a lot of times on social media and in life, we just see the highlight reel. And those people that just show the highlight reel, they're just hard to trust. And it's hard to relate with them. My students, my wife, Sydney, we all love you. And they love you because you're so independent and you're so strong. And you have such truth when you speak. And we feel it. And we love walking with you. And we love your relationship with your husband and walking in the neighborhood. But what we really want to know is, does Barbie struggle like we struggle? Does Barbie have things that she's been through, that she's had to overcome, that has turned her into this amazing version that we get to experience now? Because that gives people hope. That makes people want to do the work. To you, like for instance,
I really felt that, by the way. I really felt that in my heart. Yep.
So what have you already done today? Well, like your morning routine, right? What have you already done today, right?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I've done a lot, but hold on a second. Hold up a second. I wanted to say something. Yes. So you are a voice coach and your brand or what you teach is teaching with your whole voice. Yeah. And I actually came on today's session expecting to ask you basically, how do I record an episode and not show? So it was like I wasn't trying to hide, but I kind of was, right? Because let's talk about what happened. Yes. And so it relates to what you do, which is your not being, I mean, you can talk about what whole voice means, but it's your whole being. That's why within 5 minutes you said, let them see your struggle because they think that you're so put together. And so you just reminded me that I just need to bring my whole being to the table, which sometimes includes struggle, and not how do I get myself in a good state so I can create a freaking awesome podcast? That was my intention. I'm like, shoot, how am I going to fake it till I make it, but be authentic? And actually, that's not very authentic.
No. And the whole voice is mentally, book smart, intelligence, comprehension, physically, physique, nutrition, health, sleep, spiritually, God, universe, energy. How do you connect to that vibration? What is your frequency, right? Emotionally, how do you handle stress, anxiety, depression? On the same side of the coin, how do you show kindness, generosity, love? And then the last one is abundance. Your mindset of how life happens for you, which is what you coach. And so what I do is I measure my students based on those criteria in my brain. And that's kind of where it gives me direction of where I'm going to go. Also, I'm glad you said what you did about the whole voice, because working with me, you're going to get confident, you're going to get clarity, you're going to connect to people better like you are right now, and your communication is going to go through the roof. You're not going to have to repeat yourself. And those are the things that people get for free working with me. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate this conversation so much. Again, this moment for all the listeners is absolutely spontaneous, absolutely intuitive.
Yes. Well, I was not planning to have a guest on my podcast for months. I hadn't decided if I would ever have a guest, but it just so happened and the moment seemed perfect. But you and I hadn't really talked about that definition of your whole voice, which is being a whole being. The episode that was just released today, so people will have already heard it, is about true success, which actually coincides with everything that you're saying, because we tend to, in our society, in our Western society, we tend to just work ourselves to death and have a very limited definition of success, money, recognition, status, but we ignore energy, right? We work ourselves, I already said it, we work ourselves to death. We don't have boundaries. We're not social. We might neglect our family. And so for me, the definition of true success is everything that you just said, but I said it in my terms. And it's, you also talked about vibration and energy. It's no coincidence that we're working together, right? That we're working together because
goosebumps.
Yeah, we are aligned. So it's really very beautiful. So can we talk about that episode where you heard it and you're like, I'm just not feeling it? Remember that? What was it about? Oh, when I read the letter to my future self. Let's talk about that, because that has everything to do with energy and being aligned when you deliver a message. But it's not only when you deliver a message, it's when you live.
Yeah. So that episode where you were basically just reading, it was very normal to the rest of the world. And the reason why is because, I grew up in a Lutheran church, grew up Christian. And every time that we would go to church, we would have these things that we would read as a congregation, right? So I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ. That was accepted. Even how we read in school, there are students that read things and they're like, people will bask in the sun or run away from the sun. People still have free will. And that's how they read.
Right.
And it's accepted. That's why I'm teaching voice. That's why I'm teaching the whole voice. Because there is an intention, there is a feeling that attaches to what we do in action, whether it's cooking, cleaning, singing, or speaking, typing, texting, any action that we do. If you attach any emotion to it, it's going to make it stick. It's going to make it last. Everybody that's made it through the podcast up to this point, you feel us. And what you feel is we're excited, we have hope, we love people, we have a message to give, right? And so we don't have to repeat ourselves because it sticks. And so if I read it, just an example, So I'm going to read this two ways. I'm going to read it one way, and I'm going to read it another way. So I'm going to trigger myself when I read it the first way and trigger myself when I read the second way. Actually, I'm going to do it three ways.
Okay.
Just to give an example. People will bask in the sun or run away from the sun. That's one.
I feel nothing.
People will bask in the sun or run away from the sun. People will bask in the sun or run away from the sun. So the second one, if you felt sad, that's what I felt. Mm-hmm. And my trigger was me walking into the Catholic Church and seeing my grandpa's dead body. And it's extreme. And the reason why it's extreme is to get me there real fast. And the third one was love. And it's me picking up my first son, Maximus, in the delivery room and putting him over my head and singing, Na Tikanya Mabakiti Baba, like Lion King. And if I don't attach an emotion to what I speak or how I sing or my text or anything that I do, then it's stale and it's not human.
Yes, and so many of us are living life that way. Thank you. That was beautiful. And so what happened with the episode where I read a letter from my future self, I was in a rush. I had the person that helps me put together my podcast say, hey, we haven't received your episode. Where is it? It's Friday. I don't like to rush. And I like to deliver. And I just had a technical problem with an episode that I wanted to upload. And so I said, give me 20 minutes. It was Friday, 4:00. And I'm like, I'm going to crank it out. And I cranked it out. I mean, it showed, because when you listen to it, you're like, Barbie, I'm not feeling it. And the week before, I had read you the letter. You had felt it. Remember?
Yes.
And so this brings up self-compassion and forgiveness, because I also see in my line of work, and I'm sure you see it too, that we're just so hard on ourselves. People are so hard on ourselves. And you said something to me. You said, well, you're never going to make this mistake again. You're never going to record an episode without getting yourself in a feeling state. And I said, wow, you're right. Do you remember you said that?
Yeah, I felt that too just now.
And so that's what happened. But you know what? Sometimes we need, this is why coaches are so important, right? And having a mentor is so important. Because even though I had learned that lesson, I came to today's session and I said, okay, I need to get myself in a feeling state in order to record. But I had you to remind me that I'm not just supposed to be in a feeling state. It's my authenticity that people want to see, and not my perfection. I feel like that's the theme of my life this
Beautiful.
week.
We live in a world where the majority of humans are afraid, scared, shunned, made fun of for showing raw emotion. And my whole life, I've been made fun of for showing such raw emotion. Whether it's I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm joyful, I'm happy, I'm loved, I am excited. And the people around me would get overwhelmed, or they didn't know how to handle it, or they pushed me away, or they would make fun of me. I remember in college, legitimately walking up the stairs to my dorm, and I was so excited because we had the opportunity to maybe sing some Les Mis songs from the musical Les Miserables. You're a French teacher, right?
Miserables. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe I tried to even say that in front of you. That's funny.
You did great. You did great.
Thank you. Thank you. But I remember saying that to two friends. I can tell you their names, but I'm not going to. Mm-hmm. And they looked at me and they said, oh, you think you're going to get the solo because you feel so much?
You were ashamed.
Yeah. In my profession, in the last 18 years here, where I teach.
You teach at a high school, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. I've been told that I cannot show that depth of emotion. I was told this last year that when I walk into a room, if I'm sad, the whole room feels it. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful we are. All right. That we feel so deeply. We feel, in Dispenza's book, energy is frequency, frequency carries information. That is absolute 1000% correct.
Yes.
All right. The more people meditate, the more people do the work, the more people run, our expansion of energy grows, and it does not diminish, and it keeps growing. When that expansion of the energy spectrum grows, that means people are going to feel us 50 feet, 100 feet, blocks away, cities away. And then the person that we know, Heather, across the freaking country.
That's right.
And across the world, right? So a lack of emotion is a lack of the vehicle carrying our information, because the emotion is an actual energy. And when we don't feel first before we do the thing, whatever the thing is, then it's not going to travel and it's not going to stick. And it will literally go on deaf ears because nobody will feel it. And the human experience, the reason why we are not robots, the human experience is to feel. It's why we love art. It's why the Sistine Chapel and Michelangelo's creation is still there today. He felt deeply when he started painting, and his people that were trained by him, that were his mentees, felt what he felt. They felt the vision, and they created something that has lasted for hundreds of years.
So how do we take this back to the real life world, to the average? By average, I just mean someone who may not be Michelangelo, right? Someone who may not have a podcast. What does that mean in practical reality? And why does it matter?
It matters because it's how we show up.
Yes.
You said something to me before we started recording, and this is why we love you. I said, hey, you have a gift, you have a message, you have a light to share. And it'd be really cool, like when you go to this reunion, to maybe share that light. And then you said to me, I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to open my heart and be me. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And in being you, Barbie, it's being able to be comfortable enough to show I hurt, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm joyful, I am love right now.
The whole range of human emotion. Because
everybody's seen Inside Out for the most part. I'm pretty sure that everybody's seen that beautiful little Pixar movie. And it's about, we have to be sad to be happy. We have to go through pain to have growth. I tell my students every year, your mothers, whoever had you, went through crazy amounts of pain, and you did too, to get into the actual world. What makes you think that that's going to stop after the day you were born?
Well, that's what makes us human. It's funny, I told the student yesterday I wrapped up my mastermind, Become a High Money Magnet. And I told one student, I said, what makes you so beautiful? I took each student that was present and I shared with them what I saw in them. And what I said was, I see that they were each already perfect as God's creation, the universe's creation, whatever you believe. And what I was able to see was like a blossoming of each person. They were already perfect, but I just got to see that opening up of a bud. And I told one student who is always projecting joy, I said, you know what makes you so beautiful is the whole of you. It's your pain. And it's why people love me, right? So anyway, let's wrap it up. I just want to thank you so much, Matt. This was totally unexpected. I will be sharing your Instagram and how to get in contact with you. In case anybody wants to get in touch with you, they can do that. And then you guys, I have a retreat that is coming up, I believe in August. I know, so excited, really so excited, because I think what I have realized lately has been that it's not about the money and the quote unquote success, whatever that means. It's about the energy. It's about the frequency of just love of heart. And so that's what I want to create at my retreat coming up in August. So if you're interested in that, you can shoot me a message, find a way to contact me, but I will be eventually sharing a link so that you can find out more about it. But Matt, thank you so much again. This was amazing.
Thank you, Barbie. And I'm very grateful of this opportunity. And it's a blessing to work with you every week.
Thank you so much. We're doing amazing work. I can see the difference in my voice, how I'm enunciating things, but I can see how you're really helping me communicate my whole being and not just my you're helping me communicate my whole being through my whole voice. So I felt that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too.
Did you love that episode or what? Make sure to leave me a review and let's connect over on Facebook in Your Empowered Life community. I'll see you next time.